Hey, Money Vikings, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me today. I have a special one for you today. This one I think is quite appropriate for the times we live in, where we're dealing with extremely high inflation. Cost of living is going through the roof. People are barely hanging on, let alone able to save large amounts for any kind of early retirement or even a normal retirement. So it's getting pretty tough out there. So what I want to talk about are 5 frugality rules that Warren Buffett practices that we should practice as well. So please remember again to like and subscribe and check out more of our content as we grow the channel, really trying to add value to your life in various categories that we all combine to talk about true wealth. There's number 1, there's investing. Number 2, there's health, and study after study showing that if we don't have some good baseline of health, it doesn't matter how much money we have or how many investments we have, we really don't feel wealthy if we're dealing with a lot of major health problems. So that's why we do a lot of research and a lot of topics on health. And the last one that I talk a lot about are collectibles. I like to talk about collectible comics and trading card games and magic and all that kind of stuff. Because it's fun and it brings people together, and it's like collecting art to me. So with that, let's launch right into it. I think you'll find this very important. So these are things that Warren Buffett does. And now let's just set the pace here, set the tone. Warren Buffett is one of the wealthiest, from a financial standpoint, is one of the wealthiest people in the world. So he really doesn't have to practice very much frugality, quote unquote. He can pretty much, I talk about this in the article, and check out truewealth.moneyvikings.com if you want to deep dive on the article. But, he could literally buy 365 Rolls Royces and drive a different one on each day. But I think we all know that on some level, that is absolutely asinine and ridiculous. And so why would he put his capital to use in such a silly way? It would be absolutely frivolous. It would probably make him look stupid. And he'll basically tell you, I would just get no more utility out of the normal car I drive. And I'll talk about the car he drives. It's a nice car, but it's actually a car that almost any of us could afford. Especially if you're watching this video, you're probably pretty much a savvy investor, and you're thinking about these things. You're thinking about investing. You're thinking about health. You're thinking about ways to grow your wealth. So you could probably buy the car that Warren Buffett drives and actually live a pretty... we can actually, a lot of us, what was really eye-opening about this research, and I've read a lot about Warren Buffett for many years, is that almost all of us could, in the middle class, could live a Warren Buffett life. So I thought that was very interesting. So let's get right into it. So let's talk a little bit about frugality, because I want to dispel some myths. So frugality, as it says here, is the quality of being frugal, sparing, thrifty, prudent, or economical in the consumption or consumable resources such as food, time, or money. I separate frugality from being cheap. Some people combine these two things, and I think it's to their detriment. In my mind, frugality is having a sense of wisdom and using money as a tool that can enhance your life and the life of others. And you can also align that energy and that tool with your highest priorities and values. Being cheap to me is a different thing. That's when, it's that old saying about penny wise and pound foolish, not spending the money on something that is a little higher quality that's going to last longer, just going for the cheapest item that maybe isn't well made or isn't quality. Not being very, giving to other people. I understand we can all give within our means, but it is important to also give. I think it's value to you, and it's value to them and to society. So there's a difference between frugality and cheap. So I just wanted to say that up front, because some people do conflate the two, and I just don't agree with that. So in behavioral science, frugality has been defined as the tendency to acquire goods and services in a restrained manner. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think you're being thoughtful about your spending. And a lot of us could, especially in this day and age in America, we could be more thoughtful about our spending. So anyway, let's go into it here. The second thing I talk about is offense and defense. So in terms of building wealth in your finances, you need offense and you need defense. So offense is clearly, making money. And then defense is the other end, where it's the frugal part of it. That's defending and keeping some of what you make. So both of them are important. You have to make money, but we also need to keep a little bit of it. So the biggest factor in people growing wealth is them paying themselves first. So they've played good defense and they've been able to invest a small amount of their income. And that grows over time. So I think in this day and age, especially in what we're calling the raging 20s, I think that frugality is really coming back. I think we need to get back to basics, back to fundamentals, back to really realizing what makes for a fruitful and awesome life. And it isn't always all this external stuff. And, having a big mansion or palace, there's been a lot of, miserable people that live in palaces. So do we really need it? How about buying a home that we could actually use, one that's the right size for us? So same goes for Warren Buffett. He could live in a palace, and that gets into the first thing, his first frugal habit: buy a modest home. So Warren Buffett has lived in the same 5-bedroom house in Omaha for 65 years. The house cost him $31,000. Buffett could easily move into a 100-room palace somewhere. But why? This would be a huge waste of money. And is there really a need to live in a hotel? I don't think so. So, and Buffett would say, he just says, hey, my house, I like my house. It's been a great investment. I've raised my family there, a lot of good memories, and it's big enough for the needs I have. 5 bedrooms is a pretty big house, actually, in this world. And a lot of this goes back to perspective. We need to remember that we have to keep perspective. Billions of people live in small apartments or are unhoused. So, hey, maybe you have a little smaller house than somebody else, but you know what? You have a house, so make the best of it. That's what I would say. So, clearly this is an important thing. Housing is one of the biggest expenses for all of us. So it's imperative that we get it right. Get it right in terms of size, condition, location, and lifestyle for you. But just basically saying, in some way, be frugal about it. Find the right sweet spot for you. Okay, a normal car. Warren Buffett drives a 2014 Cadillac XTS. Hey, I'm not saying it's a bad car. It's a great car. In fact, it's also considered a luxury car. Cadillac's a luxury vehicle. But here's what I looked up. You could buy that same car right now. It was a 2014. You can buy used ones right now for about $15,000, maybe $20,000 for the one he's got. I'm sure it's all souped up with all the bells and whistles. So that's a very affordable car for a lot of us. Again, the guy could be driving a $300,000 Rolls Royce. No, what did he do? He went to Cadillac, and yes, he probably got the high end one. Maybe it cost him, $70,000 or $65,000. But he's a billionaire. There's a lot of people that don't have a dollar saved, and they're driving $65,000 Cadillacs. For me, I'm a Toyota, Subaru, Honda type of guy, not a Cadillac person. But, I got my Toyota and it works great and gets us from point A to point B. It's safe, it's reliable, it's got all the room I need. You get the point. So a normal car, Americans notoriously spend way too much money on vehicles and just way too much car. And again, if you're getting a payment, there's people now with payments that are $1,000 a month, and that's totally diverting from your ability to build wealth. So just be thoughtful, be frugal about a car. Okay, a lavish wedding, that's the next thing. So Warren Buffett, he was married twice. It's kind of a long story, but you can check it out in his biography. He had a nice, long, successful marriage with the woman that he'd married since the 50s or whatever. She passed away since then. But he had a couple of children with them. They're all grown. I think some of his kids now are in their 60s and 70s. But anyhow, he divorced her after 30, 40 years, whatever it might have been. And then he remarried in 2006. Well, they had a simple, brief wedding at his daughter's house. Again, this is a guy, I've heard of people spending, some of these really wealthy people spending $1 million on a wedding. And the average wedding today costs $30,000 in the year 2023. It's insane. So, I don't know, for a one-day party, listen, I'm all for getting together. I'm all for having a fun, festive time with people and friends and family. I think it's a great idea. But does it really have to cost $30,000? I don't know. Let's just rethink this a little bit. That's my point. And here's one of the wealthiest men in the world got married at his daughter's house. who knows? Maybe he spent 10 grand or something on it. I don't know. Maybe he had it catered. So anyway, hey, number 4, he's not afraid to seek out deals. And he looks for deals. That's part of his value investing strategy. He's looking for businesses that are on sale. A lot of times he talks about it. He's not buying a stock. He's trying to buy a small portion of a business. In his case, probably a big portion of a business. But he likes to get a good deal. He wants to buy that asset on sale. And he talks about it just like he wants to buy more hamburgers on sale or his clothes on sale or whatever it might be. The only double-edged sword I would say about sales is that be careful about coupons and sales enticing you to buy more than you would. Really make sure that it's something you'd be buying anyway. That would just be my word of caution on that. And number 5, high-priced restaurants. He really doesn't go out to a lot of high-priced restaurants. In fact, it's said that he takes his kids and his grandkids maybe once a week or whatever it might be to a Dairy Queen. Now, Berkshire Hathaway does own Dairy Queen, so this is pretty good advertising for Dairy Queen, one of his assets. But at the same time, that's a really reasonable place to go with a family. It's not going to cost that much. I've just seen people go nuts with the fine dining. Listen, I like a nice restaurant like everybody else, but some of these places are crazy. Walking out with $500, $600, $700 dining bills for one night, for one meal. I mean, how much better can the food get? I mean, there's just so many things you can do. So I don't know, maybe fast casual, find a place that's a little better price point. Sometimes sharing a meal, maybe reduce the drinks. They make a lot of money off sodas and drinks, and if you can hold back on all that. So that's just something he doesn't spend a lot of money on. He's really frugal. There's all kinds of other things that he's totally frugal about, and there's all kinds of resources online that you could check out. But hey, thanks again for watching. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. We're growing, and it really feels good as we expand things. And again, we're trying to add to your true wealth journey. Please like and subscribe and share. Y'all take care, and we'll see you on the next one.